Hi there, I'm Jesse from Miro, and in this video, we're going to cover how Miro Flows and Miro Sidekicks can help you and your team align on your company level objectives and strategies and actually communicate them to the team as quickly and as efficiently as possible. If you're not familiar with Miro Flows gives you the ability to chain together and templatize multi-step workflows directly within the canvas that are fully powered by AI to help you with key business processes. Let's take a look at this in action. This all starts with a pre-built flow template that we've actually created to help us with OKR development because it's a process we have to do over and over again. What I'm going to show you here is just an example. With Miro Flows, you can easily tweak, customize, and create your own workflows that are rooted in your company's best practices and templatize them to standardize them across your organization. But let's deploy this template and see what it looks like. Great. So now that our flow template has actually been used, I can see that there is a multi-step workflow that's already been built out for us. And if I zoom in here on the template header, we can see that this is all about helping us to accelerate OKR development. All that we need to use this flow template is to provide it with some key inputs like company strategy documentation, dashboards, leadership call transcripts. And then Miro Flows does a lot of the heavy lifting for us, as it's going to build us a table with OKRs, a company strategy document, a strategy diagram, and an all-hands presentation. Let's take a look. So if I move over here to the right of the template where we've started to add in initial inputs, you can see here that we brought in some company context on our business. We've also embedded a Power BI dashboard here with our results from the previous quarter. We've brought in a PDF document that actually has our quarterly readout from our team here, as well as embedded a Google document here that actually has the leadership offsite call transcript in terms of what was discussed. And then ultimately, we've also added in some company branding. And all of these inputs can now be the inputs for our Miro Flow to actually leverage to generate those OKRs, to generate our strategy document, the strategy map, and the all-hands slides. And you'll see here that at each stage of the flow, you now have the ability to add on-format prompts that take the inputs that you fed into it. So in this case, if I click this document, you can see that there's inputs going in and outputs going out. And it uses those inputs as the context to then execute the on-format prompt. So in this case, you're a strategic comms lead. I want you to create a company strategy document, and it's using those inputs as the context. And as you can see here with Miro Flows, we also are giving you the ability to select the AI model of your choosing for each artifact that's being generated. We don't want to tell you which model to use. We want you to use your model of choice because this is your work. So whether it's ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, you get to pick the model that you want for each artifact. And with Miro Flows, you can actually connect each flow into your company knowledge bases if you want as well. Whether it's Amazon Q, Gemini Enterprise, Glean, Copilot, you can actually have flows pull from your company sources of record so that you don't have to leave the canvas to extract all of that rich information. And then lastly, flows can also search the web, again, meaning that you don't have to leave the canvas as you're executing this work. In essence, Miro Flows allows you and your teams to stay in your flow of work because we're bringing AI into where you're collaborating and executing these tasks. So there's no more need to go off to single point solutions and then come back to Miro to collaborate. You can do it all in real time. And now all that we have to do to execute this flow is to hit run on the first step of our flow. And we see here in the top right-hand corner that this is kicking off a 4-step workflow. Let's come back when this is finished. Great. And after about 90 seconds or so, our flow has been completed. We can see here that Miro Flows was able to generate us a table with 4 key objectives and the KRs beneath them, who the owner is, why it matters. Again, fully rooted in the context we gave it. A strategy document for Q2, an actual strategy diagram that outlines the pillars, the objectives, and why. And then ultimately, an actual presentation that can be used to socialize these objectives with the team, where we are, Q1 highlights, Q1 gaps, what we learned. And again, all of this is being generated from the inputs that we gave the flows, meaning that it's actually rooted in your company context and it's not making this up. So you're able to take key inputs of a variety of different kinds, from Power BI dashboards to embedded documents to PDFs, and use that as the context for flows to leverage downstream. Now, one of the other cool things about Miro Flows is you have the opportunity to actually iterate across different artifacts within the flow and then rerun the flow to update the downstream inputs based off of the changes that you want to see made. This is super powerful because today, if you're doing this in an LLM, you have to scroll back up in your conversation or start a new chat. But with Miro Flows, you can actually just iterate partway through the flow and then rerun the flow to update those changes in real time. Let's take a look at this with the help of a Miro sidekick, which is a no-code AI agent that's trained on a specific persona that we can collaborate with directly within the canvas. Great. So you can now see that I actually have my sidekick opened here on the right-hand side, and I'm using our SMART Goals Evaluator, which is actually trained to review content and help us generate SMART goals. So in this case, I can highlight all of the content that I gave the flow. I can also highlight the objectives generated by the flow, and I can go in here and ask the sidekick to help us make these goals SMART. And I can go in here and have it generate us a table. What I'll then do is hit run on the sidekick. It will then go in and review all of the content that I've given it access to. You can see the 5 objects from the canvas's context, and then it will actually come up with SMART objectives for us. So let's come back when this has been completed. Perfect. And now you can see that the sidekick actually reviewed the objectives that were generated against the SMART framework and has given us some suggestions on what to improve. I can actually add this to the canvas, and I can actually take this table, and now I can actually use this as the input to rerun the flow downstream for our strategy document. So I just quickly connected it there. I can then hit run. The flow is then going to kick off. And instead of a 4-step flow, it's now a 3-step flow. And everything downstream is going to take into consideration the changes that were just generated with that sidekick. Now, we did this with a sidekick, but you can obviously do this by yourself or with your teams, keeping the human in the loop throughout every step of the journey. Now, that was a quick overview about how Miro Flows and Miro Sidekicks can help you set company-level objectives and communicate them downstream to your teams. I hope this was helpful. I would encourage you to start trying flows yourself today. And if you want to see this in more depth, please book a demo with a member of our team. Thank you.